and one who had a very, very large influence on Mount Amarillo. Tom J. Tinus. I came again in '87, met Mr. Tinus, and he was a bulldog man. And he helped me to find the ropes of what this is all about. And for that, I'm grateful. Now, Mr. Tinus is going to be introduced to you tonight by another Randolph friend, Mr. Ray Johnson. Ray?
Thank you, Coach Lyons, members of the Hall of Fame Selection Committee, for all of your efforts, time, and sacrifice in putting this tremendous event together. You've done an incredible job of selecting this year's inductees. They're a spectacular group that are more than worthy of this honor, and I'm really humbled to be a part of this whole program and witness it myself. It's very special. Thanks to the inductees. Tonight's turnout most certainly demonstrates that your personal impact continues to ripple through the community, and with all of us who've had the honor to be around during your time in Randolph. Thanks to Coach Holman and the team last night. They did an incredible job of opening up the festivities with a resounding victory. I know good things are coming as we continue with Coach Holman and his staff. I think there's going to be many more years of great Randolph football to come. On behalf of the Football Alumni Association, I have two other quick thank yous. To the 68 team, thank you so much for your part in building the foundation on which every Randolph football team's success has been built. Had you not done that, who knows how things would have taken shape, not just with the football program, as other athletes have expressed. The direct link to Coach Bauer Sr., Coach Bauer Jr., Mr. Leffler, Travis. I mean, you guys are all part of such an incredible impact. My God, it's like a who's who of just incredible people who have built such an amazing system here. And in a lot of ways, it started with that 68 team and the heart that you guys had to take a 0-27 record from just having the guts to buy into a system that was brand new. And this little guy with this big old cigar telling you how to go about doing it. And basically one of the things he said, listen to me and you'll have a winner. And man, you guys really did it. It's really an amazing night to be here with you. So thanks for that. Thanks also, of course, to Mrs. Bauer Sr. and the rest of the Bauer family, and for all your contributions and sacrifice to so many people over the years. Just an incredible amount of time and effort goes into a season as a coach and as a wife of coach, spouse. So thank you for that. And likewise to all the other coaches and administrators who made Randolph High School a place to be when it comes to athletics. Growing up here, it was always a powerhouse in so many different sports, and it takes a lot of dedication and commitment. So thanks to all of you for that. So this past April, I had the honor and privilege to present Tom Tinus with the Man of the Year Award at a different banquet that was sponsored by the Randolph resident, Paul Montgomery, who's here tonight. But Tom, leading up to this, said, why don't you just give your same speech that you gave that night? And it would have been a lot easier, trust me, but I didn't think it would really do justice and convey to those folks who may not know you what an amazing contribution you've made to this community. Tonight's intro speech wasn't really written by me, because what we did is prior to that event, we solicited all of Tom's former players and colleagues and asked them to send in some memories and recollections that they may have had from the time of being coached or working with him. And so I'd like to, before I share a few of those messages that they sent in, that were part of this book of memories that we presented to Tom that night, I want to run down just a few things to give you a little background before all those people share some of the highlights of what they wrote. 33 years of coaching, beginning in 1972. He was a play-by-play announcer in the booth for many of those years. He was a member of the Randolph Township Football Committee. He was the assistant football program coordinator. He was the Randolph Rep on the Morris County Midget Football League for 15 years. He was the Morris County Midget Football League Super Pee Wee and Clinic president for 2 years. He was the Morris County Midget Football League VP for 2 years. He was the Morris County Midget Football League president for 11 years. 15 years on the board of directors for the Morris County chapter of the National Football Foundation. And he's been the vice president and co-founder of the Randolph Football Alumni Association for the last 8. So think about that. While coaching for 33 years, he was doing all this other stuff. So someone else mentioned before, you see him around, you always wonder what he's doing. Well, he was doing some stuff around here for all of us. And another thing to consider, he was also a father and a husband and an employee. So to mix all that stuff together blows my mind. Just think about trying to work all that stuff into our lives today. And I just can't imagine how that happens and how it's possible. So with that as a backdrop, let me just run through some of the highlights. There were many people who sent things in that were just amazing, but I'll read just a few as quickly as I can. Mr. Tinus is a great communicator. He genuinely cared about us. To this day, I believe he feels the same way about all of us as he did in the 1980s. We were fortunate to be part of such a great era of midget football, and it was even better having been coached by the tuner. It was Alex Narcisse. My thoughts about Tom are simple and all positive. Loyal, helpful, and caring are words which easily come to mind. Tom, much like Ted Hart, always came around to ask what he could do to help. He never looked for what could be done for him, but what he could do for Randolph football. That was Coach Dave Poppy. It was not until last year, after coaching my own son, that I truly appreciated all of the accumulated knowledge of Tom. He drove up from South Jersey and spent an entire practice with us reviewing the finer points of blocking and the execution of running the wing tee offense. He was and still is truly committed to excellence. It's Mr. Matt Hartlett, the other Hall of Fame inductee. Thank you for demanding that we do our best and that we execute. Thank you for being tough, but kind and funny at the same time. Thanks for knowing which players to push and which to back off of. Your passion was instilled in us and it helped us to keep our core group together to accomplish great things on the football field. Thank you for that, RHS. I have intense emotional memories, a combo of discipline, compassion, and crazy uncle. He's always there, along with all my bulldog memories, always pushing us to another level and always ready to hand us the hose as we were about to drop. A one and only, Tom's intense impact during those 3 quick years have endured a lifetime. I still feel him pushing, joking, and extending that hose. Scott Miller. By showing that he trusted me, Coach Tinus gave me a great boost of self-confidence, for which a shy 12-year-old was difficult to find. It's impossible to recall this moment and not wonder how many times a similar gesture by Coach Tinus helped personally transform one of his players for the better. Work hard, immensely tough, don't make excuses, and behave with class and dignity. Coach Tinus, you were right. It was worth climbing the hill. It was worth paying the price. Eternally grateful. Mark Forsythe. Coach Tinus was a special coach for me. He made sure I did not make excuses and he held me to high standards. He believed in me and continued to encourage and challenge me along the way. Coach Tinus will be remembered as more than anything else, a coach who cared. He never stopped being our coach or looking out for us once we moved up. He supported us all the way through and I considered him a friend for life. He taught us about football, he taught us about life, and we had a heck of a lot of fun through it all. Congratulations to Coach Tinus. The honor is well deserved. Ted left on the court. Coach Tinus, you always took care to make sure I was prepared, knew what to do, and was put in a position to be successful. That is so important at the youth level. I recently began coaching my sons in football, and I'm proud to see them wearing the Bulldog uniform. I tried to coach the way you did, with a focus on more than just the game, but how to treat fellow team members, opponents, and referees. You always did it the right way and never lost sight of the fact that we were 10 and 11-year-old kids. You always kept things in perspective. I have a new appreciation for how much time and effort coaching takes. Forget about doing it for 33 years. Thank you for helping to mold and shape me into the person I am today and for the football and life lessons that you taught me. You continue to have a positive effect on me many years later. With love and appreciation, Tim November. Tom, to this day, whenever I'm faced with a challenge professionally or personally, I can hear your voice in my head yelling out, "Wrap your arms!" I truly believe to this day that all of your football players who you coached love you, respect you, and admire you, whether he was a starting player or a second stringer. When you coached, you had that God-given talent and gift of knowing how to treat and talk to a kid properly in order to win him over, uplift his spirit, and inspire him to be the best that he could be. I noticed when I played for you that you treated all of your football players equally. It didn't matter if he was a starter or a second stringer. This is why none of your players during your 33 selfless years of sacrifice and total commitment to Randolph Bulldogs ever quit on you. That's something to think about. Coaching for 33 years and not having one kid say, "You know what, this just isn't for me." It's an incredible testament to what a wonderful coach Coach Tinus was. And they did it not because they had to, they wanted to. You earned their respect organically, not by force. It's that simple and straightforward. Again, with the utmost love, respect, and appreciation and admiration, Jason Uzuzi. Tom, to know you were part of every young man you had the opportunity to work with, that a special part of you will remain with them forever. Knowing that you had a part in helping the development, formation, and growth of each of them is something that you can carry with you always with pride. Tom, congratulations on this long overdue award. With love and pride, Gloria and Diane Bauer and family. Coach Tinus made me feel like I belonged on the team, and I will forever be grateful for that. Whether I was his backup quarterback, his water boy, or filling in another position, he always made me feel just as important as any other player on the sideline. He taught me how to lead, which I have carried with me through all aspects of life. Thanks for everything, Coach. Cody Cameron. Coach, the virtues that you possess cannot be taught. You are an icon in Randolph football history, and you will always be one of the best in my book. Thank you for all that you've done, Coach. You're a champion. Without your efforts, the streak likely never happens. Your friend, Blake Shannon. Keep in mind, these are kids that were in 7th and 8th grade or younger, and we're talking about this coach being such an impact on their lives and how good it becomes. It's incredible. Tom, quite honestly, I can't think of a more deserving person than you for an award such as this. Indeed, you should have been recognized in this manner a long time before now. Congratulations on your selection. It has been said that kindness is the insignia of a loving heart. In a nutshell, Tom, that's what comes to mind when anyone mentions your name to me. Kindness and thoughtfulness have always been your calling cards. As a student, as a coach, as a husband, as a father, I can't ever remember an unkind sentiment dominating your personality. Forgetting yourself for your teammates is not easy to do, personally, and it's not easy to sell to young men either. But because you have walked the walk, by the way you have lived, you have been very successful in getting the young people you have worked with to buy into this thought process. In you, Tom, they have seen and still see in action a man who is willing to consistently sacrifice for others. They have seen you at your unselfish best. They have seen what being a giver really means. Doing it when the going is tough and the hills are more difficult to climb, not just when things are going well and the road is smooth and paved. How could they, or any of us who are proud to call you a friend, not respect and love you? With respect, love, and admiration, John Bauer Jr. And last, but certainly not least, the shortest, but probably the most powerful, the kindest and most giving person I know, Tom Tinus, my father, Stephen Tinus, who is also here tonight. So friends, there's not much else that I can add except to say how thankful my wife Sherry and I are for having become friends with Tom over the last 8 years of development and formation of the Randolph football Football Alumni Association. I didn't have the good fortune of being coached by Tom. I was there, he was there, but our years just didn't overlap. So it's been truly a precious gift to finally get to know this legend and be a part of it and have the opportunity to introduce him here to you tonight. One thing you haven't really heard me say is anything about a win-loss record. There are countless undefeated seasons, countless championships, but it has really nothing to do with that. That was all just great on top of what Tom did to impact the people that he coached. And there's really nothing much else to say other than finally bring him up here and let him say a few words. So.
Well, first of all, you didn't have to stand because you're probably still taller than me sitting. So. Let's see. I wrote most of this down. I'm going to read it. It's easier that way. Linda Poppy, where did you find that picture, by the way? I missed my calling in life. That could have been the poster child for birth control. Jeez. Okay, first I'd like to thank the committee, Rich Pilla for spelling my name correctly. I want to thank all my good friends. Some of them here tonight: David Carroll Saunier, Andy Curran came all the way out from Cincinnati, Ohio, and you remember the chili. Pat Walsh was my assistant coach for close to 18 or 19 years. I could go into all night stories putting up with me, wondering. We used to have second team games when we had a lot of kids that we wanted to get in. So luckily I was good friends with the guy from Roxbury, the coach from Roxbury who ran the program. So we used to have these second team games. We used to pay referees to do it. And of course I made Walsh do it. Thank you to all my teachers that are here tonight and the people that I worked with in Randolph football. Ted Leffler was very close to me. He was a caring individual. He took care of me, gave me guidance when I needed. Bob Williams is here today. Bob, if you can remember, I did go out for freshman wrestling. That was a lesson. Dave, Poppy, Cliff, even though you weren't my teachers, I, would see you all the time. Mike, my relationship with you as the 8th grade coach and trying to move the kids up to you to make your life easier, a little bit easier. It was just a special time for me too. And it's easy to do this when you have the type of kids that went through Randolph. Randolph kids are special kids. And you'll hear that question wherever I went. What did you guys do to make it that way? And then I used to tell them, we used to breed them. We used to take some guy from Wisconsin, okay, that had football in his blood, take some woman from Pennsylvania that looked like a fullback, and then we used to breed them. I'd like to thank my sons. My sons Stephen, Darren, Justin, Brandon. I just can't express how much I'm grateful and almost sorry at the same time for the personal sacrifices you had to and were not asked to make for me to be able to accept this special award tonight. I was blessed to have 4 sons. Well, actually, I was too weak to commit suicide, so we did this instead. My son Stephen is here. I'll embarrass you even more now. If you could please stand up. This happens to be my oldest son, Stephen. No clap, just buying drinks later. For those that don't know, I coached here 33 years. He was the only son that I coached. So 32 years, all those other kids were my children. It made it easier that way, except for when it came time to dealing with the parents. So, hey, and you know what? Thank God it was this town. Thank God, if there is a historic or God, whatever to put me here, He stuck me in this town, and thank God, because the people in this town will always be special people. Will always be special people. And it could have been worse. I mean, I could have woken up in some other school district one morning, got to school, that morning went to my first day in class, and I could have been sitting next to Ron Standridge. I would like to have stood here tonight to tell you I was a state wrestling champ, and then Bill Baxis would have came up here and kicked me in the ass. So that's not going to happen. I would have liked to have told you that I beat Matt Narlilo's records all over the place and all this stuff as an athlete, but for, you know, in all reality, take a look at me. You know, I honestly, sincerely think that they conceived the movie White Men Can't Jump by looking at me. So that's not going to happen. For 45 years, I was misdiagnosed with a disability that did not allow me to participate in many sports. But I was given a gift from my teachers, such as Ted, and the guys from the 68 teams that are here tonight that I ended up to become friends with. For those that don't know, when I was in 7th and 8th grade, we walked the same halls as the seniors. Billy, you remember that, right? And I used to hide, okay, because they were after me. In fact, I think they're still looking for me. But that's the way it was. And you respected these guys, and it was easy. These were caring individuals. Randolph was a very caring town. These guys, this 68 team, 69, 70, so without a doubt in my heart, these years taught me 2 valuable life lessons that I shared with every boy or girl that ever played for me. And that was accept your teammates as a friend and care for him as your best friend, regardless of whether you perceive his personality, he personally is weak, or athletically, he's weak. It doesn't matter. He's your teammate, he's your friend. And I made sure that happened. I humiliated the kids that thought they were better than each other. And just to give you an example, my captains, it used to be that all the other coaches would take the kids, second team kids, and they'd say, okay, at the end of practice, you guys are going to carry the bags down to the shed. You guys are going to take the medicine kit home. You guys are going to do this. You guys are going to do that. You always picked out the second team kids. I made the captains do it. I made the captains do it. And I'll tell you what, I lied by telling them that if I found out that they didn't treat the other kids good, that Mike Lyons was going to tell me, because Mike Lyons was a teacher in the middle school. I had a kid that, at the time, looking back on it, he probably had something like ADD, and the other kids, they couldn't stand him. And, you know, I would say to these kids, especially the captains, I would say to these kids, you know, what's wrong? What is it with you? You know, why are you treating this kid that way? And I try to express to them the best way that I could, that he's your teammate now. That's not going to happen. You know, this isn't going to happen. And it was kind of funny because he actually made them a better football team. Because the people that play football will understand this. When you set up your offense, you set up a team on the other side of the ball that mimics the team that you're going to play. So then you go over the blocking assignments for that. So I say to Brian, I say, Brian, here's where I want you to stand, because we have to, spend special attention to him. And I said, you're going to get blocked by, don't let this guy block you. Well, the play would go off, I'm looking to see where Brian is, he's over here. Okay? So then, I'm looking at it, and the guy that was supposed to block Brian is now getting really frustrated, he's getting pissed off. So I say to myself, this is pretty good. So I let Brian do whatever he wants. So the first thing, he's in the backfield, he's doing this, he's doing that, and they're all just getting all mad at him. They don't like him anyway. But he actually made them a better football team by doing that, because now I'm turning around to them and going, how the hell did he get back here? What is he doing here like that? So I kind of used him for that. But what had happened was, I took my captains on the side and I said to them, hey, by the way, who are you guys, how's school going? We're doing good. We're doing good. You doing your homework? Yeah, we're doing more homework. They weren't doing their homework. But they tell me they were. Okay? So I say, who do you eat lunch with? They'd say, we eat lunch with this this guy, that guy. And they were all the other stars of the team. And I said, I go, who's Brian eat lunch with? And they said, Brian eats lunch, at this table, that table. I said, well, what if I told you tomorrow that you're eating lunch with Brian? Their jaw hit the ground. I said, oh yeah, you're going to eat lunch with Brian, because if you don't eat lunch with Brian, when you come to school, and I use Lions again, I go, my clients will tell me that you weren't eating lunch with Brian, and you're out of here. You're not a captain anymore. So the season went on. We ended the season, won the championship. About 6 months later, I'm at the movies with my wife. And I hear, hey, there's Mr. Tinus, so I turn around and look. Here comes the two captains. With them is Brian. That's more important than wins. So, you got to look at guys like me as a dinosaur, because in today's world, the word fun has now been replaced with the word win. And the word coach has now been replaced with the word dad. And they kind of go hand in hand, because the priorities just aren't there. And when you think about it, the bottom line here is, what is more important to you as parents? Is it that your kid is a good athlete, or is he a good person? And that's what you have to strive for. That's what everyone should be striving for. Coaches, parents, whatever. It doesn't matter. Matt was a good kid, and Matt was a good athlete. That's what you would hope for. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Okay? Not everyone is an athlete. What you hope for is that everyone is a good kid. So, it's where your priorities are. People said to me, well, if you didn't coach football, what would have you done? I started thinking about all kinds of things, what I would have done. I could have did this, I could have went there. Could have been a politician. Think about it. Everyone in town knows me. Right? Could have been a politician. I could be sitting here today telling you, well, I got shot by a sniper while I was groping myself. Please. It's not about the amount of years in your life, but more importantly, the life in those years. Do something that makes them want to remember those years. Personally, when it comes time for me to go, and I know somebody's going to be up there going like this, okay? I just don't want them to remember me by wins and championships. I just want them to remember me. Thank you.